Opioids in general in West Virginia has been a crisis for, probably as long as I've been a prosecutor, and I've been a prosecutor for almost 20 years. We have a lot of parents, grandparents, guardians, custodians of some type that are addicted to those drugs. It's been our big problem, and it affects everything that we see.
Unfortunately, this community is pretty plagued with drugs and the opioid crisis, and these kids they've all seen it, they've all been touched by it.
When this grant became available, it opened the opportunity for us to add a full-time staff member. So this person is invested and has more time to commit to the children.
There is a lot of kids in Morgan County, and sometimes they don't feel heard. So being able to invest my time when the phone rings and go to the high school, the middle school, go to the homes, I think has really helped these kids process what they're going through.
We have partnered with Heather in the past to provide services for the kids that she often comes in contact with.
It's those quick check-ins, it's the constant check-in, it's the, so what'd you do last night? And, talking about the drug use and cutting down on smoking, cutting down on drinking. I'm that mom in their head constantly. But then I provide individual therapy for them. We do group therapy once a week. So this is one of our alternative education classrooms. At one point, alternative education was developed for the quote-unquote bad kids. The kids that weren't controllable within the regular environment. But now, most of our kids are in here due to academic issues and not behavioral issues. A lot of our kids that have come in here have been 2 years behind in school. And actually last year we had 2 kids that graduated a year early.
Wow.
Because they just worked and worked and worked.
You need somebody in your life. We always talk about the power of one and how important it is to have somebody to be able to go to and to talk to.
During COVID, when everything went to internet and everything, a lot of our students that we would speak to over Zoom and whatnot didn't want to speak because there were other ears in the house. They didn't feel like they could be free enough to really discuss their problems because a lot of times some of the issues stem from the home.
I was one of those kids that should have been reached and I wasn't. So now I'm determined to reach each kid the best way that I can. For the most part, I try very hard to go to the schools. The schools is where it's at for these kids because that's their home outside of their home.
Having limited services available to our youth in a community really leaves parents not knowing where to turn. They can't travel to Berkeley County because of no transportation. They don't have internet to do telehealth. Where are they going to turn for help? So that's where the school comes in. Those kids are in school every day, and we can get those services right in the school. That's the easiest place to start. There was a brainstorm idea of a parent navigator. The thought was if there was somebody that could assist the parents in completing all of the tasks in their improvement period, that they would have a better chance of succeeding.
In their improvement plan, they need help with life skills, with a psychological evaluation, with a parenting evaluation. They need help sometimes with the electric bills. They need help getting into counseling.
You build confidence within them. You build strengths within them. It's real important that the Parent Resource Navigator help the parents navigate through the system, but don't do the work for them. Because at one point we hope you get to go away, and we want them to come out of this stronger and better than they were coming into the system. Fortunately, Rose is available, and she's helping mentor those new Parent Resource Navigators across the state. We're looking at 8 to 10 counties that have come on board or are coming on board.
And we could not have done this without the funding that we've received, because we did not have that funding at that time, bringing these services together kind of under one roof and having an expert in the field kind of to be able to really pull in more resources and find a broader group of services in the Tri-County or surrounding states has been really beneficial to the parents that we're serving.
I've been the prosecutor in this county as well as an elected prosecutor in other counties, and I can tell you that Morgan County by far is ahead of those other counties with how we're able to utilize those resources, put them together, and respond to situations.
Judge McLaughlin, she does phenomenal. She's about making sure that everybody that's in this community that is a resource connects together to make sure that the greatest outcome can come about for these children and the parents.
If it weren't for the resources such as the parent resource navigators, we wouldn't be doing as well as what we are right now. My caseload is overwhelming just as a prosecutor. A lot of the attorneys that are here to represent parents, it's the same way with them. Half the time they're meeting their clients for the first time when they're walking into the courtroom.
It's not like you're once a month, show up for a meeting and go home. It's committing to court days, it's committing to meetings, meeting with the children twice a month. So our volunteers are extra special in my eyes because they go above and beyond.
You know, I've struggled with addiction, with alcohol and substances, and I understand that. I have my own mental health things that I go through, and this is my backstory. This is who I was.
My daughter is in recovery, and when I found out that my daughter struggled with heroin addiction, I wanted to do something to help people like me, parents, loved ones. When I started working with the Morgan County Partnership, that's where my passion came for prevention, recovery, that sort of thing. And I tell people that Lauren will celebrate 7 years clean this November, so I know that it works.
A lot of these kids, it blows their mind when you can break down, I've been where you are. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be the outcast or feel like my parents don't want me. And in reality, it just takes that communication and building it. Being a teenager is hard, but it's really hard these days.
You know, I get letters every now and then from kids that are graduating saying what an impact it was for them. And to me, it's 600 students, but if it's just saving one, that's a win.
Kids suffer much abuse. But one thing is consistent. Doesn't matter the extent, the nature of the abuse, the drugs, these parents are still, in these kids' minds, their parents. My words terminating parental rights doesn't change that. The only way they can be good parents is to be substance-free.